Basil Hayden's is a great choice for making cocktails, whether you're using the bourbon or the rye, because really the hallmarks of Basil Hayden's is that light body but full flavor and spice. And so with that being said, it really is a very flexible whiskey to use in a multitude of cocktails. Now we're gonna make one of my favorite cocktails, the Basil Hayden's Dark Rye Boulevardier. And first we're gonna start off with our fantastic Basil Hayden's Dark Rye. The traditional recipe for a Boulevardier calls for equal parts of the bourbon or rye that you're using, the sweet vermouth, and then the Campari or the Aperol. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take down the modifiers just a touch, and we're gonna raise up our base spirit, in this case, Basil Hayden's Dark Rye. So what we're gonna do here is taking it away from that 1 ounce portion, and we're going to make a 1.5 ounce portion. And then we're gonna use 3/4 parts of our Carpano, which is a lovely sweet vermouth. Traditionally, a Boulevardier calls for Campari, which is a very straightforward bitter, but because we want to soften this up a little bit, we're going to use its softer cousin, which is Aperol, 3/4 of a part of Aperol. I think it's a good idea to add a couple of dashes of orange bitters, and in this case, we're going to use our friend Mr. Regan's bitters. Then we're going to take some ice for mixing, and when it gets to a nice cold temperature, then you know you are ready. We want to pour that wonderful Basil Hayden's Dark Rye Boulevardier on top of our large ice block. And then we want to express the citrus oils, nice little aromatic around the rim. And there you have a delicious Basil Hayden's Dark Rye Boulevardier cocktail. And now we're gonna do a variant on the Boulevardier called the Old Pal. It substitutes the sweet vermouth with dry vermouth, which makes it a little bit more of a summertime or springtime sipper, showing the versatility of Basil Hayden's bourbon. We're gonna stick with a traditional build and proportions here, so we're gonna go with a 1-1-1. So we're gonna start with 1 ounce of Basil Hayden's bourbon, 1 ounce of Aperol, 1 ounce of dry vermouth. We will stir this cocktail to reach a proper dilution and chill in the drink. And to really bring home those drier, more vibrant notes that come from the dry vermouth, we are going to complement that with a lemon twist. Make sure not to waste any oils anywhere else. Express them over the surface of the drink. Aromatic garnish. And here you have one-of-a-kind Basil Hayden's Bourbon Old Pal. One of my favorite lesser known, but definitely deeply rooted in Kentucky classic cocktails is called the Seelbach. Traditionally it's a bourbon drink, but this time I'd like to try it with a little bit of the Basil Hayden's Dark Rye. First thing we're gonna start off with is 1.5 parts of the Basil Hayden's Dark Rye. And then 1/2 parts dry Curacao, 4 dashes of Angostura bitters, and 2 additional dashes of Regan's orange bitters. Now that you're sure that your mixture is ice cold, strain into your champagne flute, and then you wanna go with something that's a little bit on the drier side, whether you're using champagne or sparkling wine. Then we're gonna put the ribbon on the top of our present, beautiful orange twist. Talk about elegant. There's a beautiful Basil Hayden's Dark Rye Seelbach twist.